Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page where we host Communications from Home. It's a weekly show here at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, and broadcasting from the Star Nations Academy here in Toma, Wisconsin, with my guest, Julie Hedges. Ju-
Hello, everyone.
yeah, Julie is one of our show hosts, our live stream show hosts. She's also a contributing writer to our magazine, Star Nations Magazine, and she's also one of our published authors through Star Nations Publishing. So Julie Hedges is definitely a part of Star Nations, and we love it. We love it. And yay! And it is Tuesday, September 11th, and Tuesday night. It's a gorgeous night here in Toma. How about by you? How is it by you?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Hey, I'm online. I got a hello from the audience here. So yeah, it's a little bit humid, but there's a nice breeze, and it's about 75. So it's been really temperate. We had some really major storms come through on the weekend, but now it's kind of bright, so we're good.
That's good. That's good. And audience, just to let you know, is that George is up here with me, our new puppy. And you hear him in the background. We'll get him on camera eventually. If I can come close enough where I can bring him up here. He's wandering around the academy right now. So you may hear him in the background. He thinks that I should be at his beck and call to play whenever he wants to play. Just like a man, just like a boy. See? So welcome. Now, Julie had contacted me a week and a half ago, maybe something like that, and had this idea for a show and asked me, can we do this together? And I said, yes. And so we found a common Tuesday night that we were both available, and the opening for to have a guest. And Julie, could you please explain to our audience what our topic is about tonight?
Sure. We're going to kind of go deep is what I'm hoping that we can do together to talk about something that's near and dear to my own heart. And I think to a lot of you out there is speaking your truth. And with a topic like this, it's full, it's round, it's weighty, it's meaty. And there are many facets to it. So the premise of me contacting Neshi to talk about this evening is my own personal healing journey that I have been on. And as a healer and practitioner and a show host and a writer and an author, I'm kind of out there. I've put myself out there on the big girl stage with my big girl panties on. And I'm really in a personal place of finding my way. And this is some of what I am learning. I'm not going to get all nitty gritty and open up the book of life and just spill it all out there for you. But what are some things that I am learning that I can share? And one of my mentors here, Neshi, who's been through many iterations of such becoming and unbecoming and re-becoming and rediscovery, what can we share from a real deep heart space and not gloss over it? Because there can be a tendency with a topic such as this is, oh, love and light, speak your truth and everything's hunky-dory. Well, I'm just going to raise my hand and say that has not been my experience while I'm unfolding in these new ways.
Yeah.
But that's not to say it won't be.
Mm-hmm.
But how can we, in our own ways, unfold and become the butterfly as gracefully as possible? Because the caterpillar has to just kind of all turn to soup before something new can happen.
Right.
So, in our long winding way, that's what this topic is about, to really get to some deep things about speaking your truth and what it means.
Mm-hmm. So speaking your truth, many of us have done that. Many of us want to do that. Many of us have been afraid to do that. And I'm going to pause here just for a second and make a request. Okay. I would like to request that the audience please share this broadcast, even if you share it just to one friend, a friend that you believe it might be helpful for. Okay. Or you can just share it to your news feed. That would be fine too. This is the topic that, as Julie said, we're not gonna gloss over stuff, and so it's going to be kind of a deep place to go. And so if you feel like there's somebody in your life that could benefit from it, please share. And it would be helpful if you liked it too. I just did that. I shared on my own timeline in the Star Nations radio network and magazine closed group to the peeps, to the peeps. And so if you could do that for us, I really would appreciate it, because it not only that, it also helps others find us much easier on Facebook. You know, there's just so much that gets posted on Facebook that you can't get to them until somebody says, "Hey, look at this." So we would appreciate it. And Rochelle is here. Hello, Rochelle.
Hi, Rochelle. Thanks for being here.
It's good to have you here. And Sister Minnie's with us. Hey,
hi, Minnie.
So glad you're here. And Rochelle says it's nice by her, weather-wise.
Good.
Mary's here. Hello, Mary. Welcome.
Hi, Mary.
So glad to see you in the chat. And look who else popped in. I found speaking my truth to be not only welcome, but deeply appreciated by all those within earshot. Good. Thank you, Minnie. She shared.
Thank you, Minnie.
Yeah. I think when we take the courage, gather the courage, and when we speak our truth, and we speak it from our hearts in the best way possible, I think that many people do hear it, and because they feel the vibration of it, right? And that's always been an intention of mine, anyway, is that when I speak my truth, is that it's as kind as possible, because I'm a triple Sagittarian. And
I know what that means.
Sometimes speaking my truth can sometimes incinerate somebody. That's what I used to do in my 20s. And I'd like to think that I've grown past that and able to state something from my heart without it being really fiery, you know. And like I said, you know, sometimes I think it does take a modicum of courage, especially maybe the first time that you consciously, intentionally make the decision, I'm going to speak my truth. And I also think it depends on who you say it to. If you say it to people who you don't really know very well or don't know at all, somehow it seems to be much easier, don't you think?
Oh.
You know?
Oh.
And
yeah, because there are no preconceived ideas of, if I go this far, what am I going to get in return?
Right.
How will I be received?
Exactly. And when we speak our truth to people who know us and we know them, maybe they are close friends or family members, I think that's where the courage comes in, because sometimes we have to say something that may, it may bring a confrontation, or you don't know how they're going to receive it, right? Because you can say it, you have no control how they receive it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, Julie, when to actually bring this conversation in, I'd like to ask our audience a question, actually a couple questions. One is beyond the dictionary definition of truth. How do you define truth for yourself? I think that's a good place for people to start their realization, their discernment of what truth is for them. When, because I think that you and I have both been in that position, having to discern what is my truth on this particular topic or situation, and knowing what we believe in and what we believe the truth to be, right? Our own truth.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel when? Because I don't want to pick it apart and make it sound really clinical,
Mm-hmm.
not very psychology-ish. It's not a word at all, but,
Oh,
when you were faced with standing up for your truth, how did you know it was your truth that you were standing in, a truth?
wow. That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
How did I know that it was my truth? I can just say that it felt real.
Mm.
When I take a breath, yeah, when I take a breath, it felt full. Now, I am a person who's been a smoker for about 15 years. I quit in 2005. But in my teens and 20s, anytime I'd get upset, oh, I'm angry, I'm just going to go out, I'm going to, smoke a few, two or three at a time. And it wasn't until after I quit smoking that I realized my smoking was so I could take a deep breath.
Oh.
Because you take a long drag in, it's like, oh, you're so upset, take a long drag in. And it was years after I quit, a couple years when I realized that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I can take a breath in something and open up, and I still find myself today, well, I have a job at a desk, so, I'm at the computer and looking at the monitor, so I'm kind of closed in.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that when things get close to my boundary and they're uncomfortable, I close in emotionally and physically and all of that. So when I know I'm in my truth, I can breathe it in.
Okay.
I can wear it like a breath.
Okay. That's a good, I think, a good tip, because when you're just starting out consciously that you're on a spiritual path, and you're searching for information, right? We're like sponges, right? I remember those days.
Mm-hmm.
Reading
Yeah.
listening to so many different videos and trying to get your hands on your mind on so much information. That's a really good tip, to turn to what is my body? How is my body reacting to this? Right? Because our body doesn't lie.
That's
It
good.
doesn't
That's
lie.
good.
So, how do you feel in your body? And that is, I think, another good point is, are you in your body?
Yeah.
In order to feel your body, you have to be in your body. So, especially if you're dealing with a situation that you have to stand in your truth, you have to speak your truth and then stand in it, right? When Julie and I were talking about this topic, it was like I think those are two different things.
I like that. Mm-hmm.
To speak your truth and then to stand in your truth. And so when we make that decision to speak our truth, given whatever situation it is that you've checked in with yourself to say, is this a truth for me? Whatever that belief is, whatever it is that you're facing, is this a truth for me? And if it's not, then to speak your truth. To speak your truth. Let's give an example. I think it might be good.
Okay.
Example. Do you have one in mind about speaking your truth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And I really like the distinction when we talked earlier about standing in your truth versus speaking your truth.
Mm-hmm.
Part of the motivation for our talk today was a personal realization through research and watching a particular psychologist online, Jordan B. Peterson. So I don't know if you would mind typing that in, Jordan B. Peterson. You can find him all over YouTube. He's a very popular Canadian clinical psychologist. And I found him at a really critically low point, emotionally, psychologically, all of that. And one of his videos, and I can find it and post it in the thread later, but one of his videos, I realized in my own life that for years and years, I had not told the truth. I didn't lie. I didn't tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So my go-to has been, I can stand here and I can be, yep, this is my truth. But actually saying it, I have very clear gates on who gets what.
Okay.
So
it's a guarded truth. It's a guarded truth.
Yeah. Who is safe in order to have that truth revealed, for me to say, this is my yes and this is my no.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also tied into boundaries, but maybe that's a different topic in itself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But you're right. It is tied into boundaries.
I have stood in my spiritual truth for a long, long time, and I'm fine with others who have different paths, and I'm cordial and respectful and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm getting into more nitty-gritty personal things with what telling my truth means.
Yeah, and I really do. I do believe that we have to go through all of our bodies, all those layers of ourselves: the spiritual, the mental, the physical, right, and the emotional. Those are four truths that should come together in a coherent way, so that our words match, our action matches our words, right? That's integrity for me. Rob is saying something here, kind of.
Yeah.
He's saying, when you have spent years trying to suppress your truth in order to avoid the wrath of the powers that be, and all it brings you is misery, it is likely your truth. Yeah. So you've held it, though. You've held it inside. You haven't actually expressed it through your voice. And I understand that. And he's going on to say that, and when you do finally speak it, and everyone around you will do anything to subject you and still hold to it, it is your truth. Yes. And I think, Rob, you just defined what I meant by, first we speak our truth, and then we stand in it. We stand in it, we stand with it. Because there's going to be some people, and some people will surprise you because you think that they're going to be cheering you on and standing, really supporting you. And some of those people are the ones that are going to challenge it, and try to change your mind about it. Which show did I talk about this? Had it been in one of the morning live streams, I was saying to be an oak tree, and sometimes we end up being the sapling. And so I think Rob, you really kind of said it very well, is that about speaking the truth, and then once you speak it, you have to make the decision if you're going to stand with it or stand in your truth, because there'll be people who will confront you with it. There's people who will talk behind your back about it. And there'll be those that won't understand it, and so they'll try to get you to explain, to prove to them.
Oh,
It's like they're kind of from like Missouri, right? The proof, the proof is in the pudding, right? So they demand that you prove it to them. So speaking your truth, I believe, is good for the soul. It's good for that expression. It's not easy sometimes, but I think it's something that we need to do. Hey, Jan Hunt is here. Hello, Jan. Glad you're here. Glad you made it here. And Rob is continuing to say, he said, you can't stand in it until you stepped in it.
I like that.
Yeah. Is that a country song lyric?
I wonder.
It doesn't sound like
Don't tell us.
AC/DC or something like that. It sounds like a country song lyric. So,
But
yeah,
that,
go ahead.
yeah, you have to make that foray. You do have to step into it before you can stand in it,
Yeah,
before you can occupy your own home, whatever that home means, the home of your body, the home where you dwell, the home of your spirituality. You do have to cross that threshold and step into it.
right, right. Yeah, have you guys, our audience, have you ever had the experience of having a situation in your life where it's, maybe somebody has said something to you that has hurt your feelings, or they've done something that just kind of shocks you, and so you think, "Oh, what?" you know,
Yeah.
and you walk away and you're going, "What just happened?" And then you spend a restless night because the mind is ruminating, rolling it over and over, every which way to look at it.
Mhm.
I think those times are the ones that sometimes bring out what a truth is, what your truth is, because I think there's a difference. There's my truth about something, my perspective of that, right? And then
Okay.
there's Julie's truth. She
Mm.
sees it from another perspective. There's Rob's truth, and we're all looking at the same thing, right?
Mhm.
But we each may have either a slightly different to a definitely different truth about that. And I think it has to do with our life experiences
Sure.
and how we react to those. So just because somebody is stating their truth to you, take it in and discern. Okay, do I agree with this? Is this something that um, I can say yes to? That I understand it and I accept it, or is it partially for me, or it's not at all? It's that discernment again, right? As much as it takes courage to state your truth, to speak your truth, I think the people receiving it have just equal value when they take it in to discern for themselves, right? That's
Mhm.
my 2 cents. And then there's the divine truth, the divine truth that, a divine truth to me is that the creator is pure love. That to me is a divine truth. To me, a divine truth is Grandmother Earth nurtures us always, provides for us always. That
And
to me
that
is divine truth.
we are souls having a human experience.
Yes. Yep.
That's a divine truth for me.
Right. And so, what is your personal truth? What is a personal truth?
Well, I think that is formed by your your culture, your personal history, your own timeline, your
Mm-hmm.
experiences,
Mm-hmm.
um, and your maturity and your growth. Also, come mixed in there with your own life path and life purpose.
Yes, lots of layers to it. Lots of layers. I tell you what, for me, um, speaking your truth around a situation or an event that has racism and prejudice involved, um, it's scary, number one, to do it, because you just don't know how that other person's going to react to your statement that you're going to make about it, right? Um, yeah, and this is from a cultural perspective. And so when somebody makes a racist statement, and they might not even be making it directly at me or to me, they may be
Mhm.
making a racial statement about an African American or an Asian person or something like that, and I hear it. If I don't say something My personal truth is that they may take my silence as an acceptance of their behavior and their opinion.
Okay.
And so my personal truth, when I say it, depending on who it is, I have actually said to the person in a group, I was at this a state training of all places. Um, and so with people who have been through all kinds of training for sensitivity and all of that,
Mm.
and so I was okay, brutally honest with this woman, is like, and I stated my truth about it. And like Rob said, that sometimes there's people who they're thinking it, but they're not going to say it. And when I said it to her, because I said, that's racist. You realize what you just said, what just came out of your mouth is a racist remark,
Mm-hmm.
and so, and there are people in the room who were, um, they weren't exactly clapping or anything. It's like, yeah, that kind of stuff. And there are others who you could tell they just wanted to crawl underneath the table.
Oh.
The confrontation thing.
Mm.
And there's other times, depending on who it is, I'm much more gentle with it. I might take them aside and introduce myself and ask them, where they're from and that kind of stuff. And point out, that discussion that we had, and you said blah blah blah. Um, did you mean it in a racist way?
Mm.
It came out, and if you didn't mean it, you might want to put a disclaimer on that or explain it a little bit when we go back in. And so it's a teachable moment for sure,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but to stand in your truth, Sometimes it's not easy,
No.
and other times you're compelled.
Yes.
Do it, right? Yeah. Do you have a situation that you can share, or would like to share about when you shared your truth?
Well, I could talk to you about the learning experience I just had. Is that okay?
Sure. Go ahead. Go for it.
Um, First, though, would you mind putting up Rob's comment? I really like this quote.
Which one?
The
The last one?
Niels Bohr.
Okay.
Yes.
Because otherwise, I was going to put up the one about you singing with a country twang.
Oh, I can do that too. There are two types of truth: trivial truth and great truth. The opposite of a trivial truth is clearly false. The opposite of a great truth is also true. My interpretation of that is the divine truth being a great truth,
Mm-hmm.
and then personal truth.
Right.
That's how I kind of take that.
Mm-hmm.
Minnie is also saying, what about when ego steps in, calling it self-truth?
Yes. That's a good question.
So I'm going to go on that one about this situation I had, which is kind of the opposite of what Neshi did. And I'm going to be very transparent with you because I use myself as an example a lot because I do stupid stuff. And one of them occurred over the weekend. I went up to Michigan for rehearsal, and we took a break and did some fun things and went over to a little kind of touristy spot called the Mystery Spot. The Mystery Spot in St. Ignace, Michigan. So I was excited about this. I'd heard about it, and I thought, ooh, wouldn't it be fun to just go do that? Kind of like an optical illusion type of situation. And I thought, okay, that sounds like fun. Let's do that. It's, the price of a movie ticket. So just go in there and have a good time, take a break. And so I was excited and ready for that adventure because I'm a little bit on the adventurous side. But I knew when I walked into that building where the mystery spot is. Basically, I would call it more of a fun house where the floor is lopsided and you've got incline and chairs on the wall and just odd things and demonstrations of gravity, etc. And like a ball would roll uphill and those kind of optical illusions. But when I walked in there and the floor was sloped, the first place we walked into was about, I'm going to say, a 20 degree incline. And immediately my body said, whoa, this is not good. But my mental and emotional side said, what's wrong with you? This is just a fun house. There are 10 other people in here. There are no problems. Nobody else is about to lose their lunch. Get it together. So I'm telling you what's going on inside of me in my own truth. My body is saying, whoa, 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 this is not good. And the rest of me is trying to rationalize, make excuses, whatever. And I did not listen to my body. I did not stop and really take an inventory. I was kind of going on the adventure side of things, like, oh, well, okay, it feels a little bit uncomfortable, but what's next? And I was feeling that push and pull. And I'm giving you my own personal example as a teaching moment or a personal failure moment that I'm still learning too. In speaking my truth or standing in my truth is about listening to all parts of myself, my body, my mind, my emotions, and my spiritual truth. And this time I failed my body. And if someone else is in a similar situation and they might treat it differently, I'm learning about befriending my body as an experiencer of trauma and the reemergence of that from memory in the recent past has brought that question up to me every single day about what is safe for my body or not. And thought it was a fun house and it's supposed to be light and frivolous. My body was telling me a truth that I just rationalized away. And I paid $9 for that ticket. And it cost me about 3.5 hours. $9 in about 3.5 hours, because that's how long it took. It was 25 minutes to go through the fun house mystery spot.
Yeah.
And then about a 3-hour recovery time for me getting back to not feeling like I'm an astronaut in training on the vomit comet going up and down like they do in training, and the gyroscope and all of that.
Yeah. So basically it wasn't listening to your body triggering you, that it would have been okay to say, you know what, I need to step out. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Step out.
And I was given that option. The facilitator, little college girl, said, "Now you don't have to do this. You can go out and get your money back." And it's like, nope, I'm not. Nobody else is having that problem. So it's the mind and many. I'm going to say that's the ego truth, or the truth that has gotten me through these so many years.
Mm-hmm.
Just power through it. Just pound the ground and go forward.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else be damned.
Right. Yeah, I think that is a good example of the ego stepping up and saying, "Listen, we're doing this because we don't want to look like a bunch of wimps.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to ace this."
And instead, I just got flopped.
Yeah, that's an ego thing. course, you're not exactly acing it if you're tossing your cookies, right?
That's true. That's true.
I think another ego piece would be to almost use your personal truth like a whip. You know,
Oh.
that is it really your personal soul truth, or is it a truth that you have in your mind, your ego self,
Mhm.
um, to bend somebody else to your will? It's called manipulation.
Mm.
Some people and some people may call it their personal truth. They're speaking their truth, or speaking their truth and shaming someone else with it. Is that a truth coming from your heart, or is that a truth coming from your mind? And can you even call that a truth at that point? Yeah, I'm going to check in with you.
Good.
Is that what you mean about when the ego steps in and calling itself truth? Um, because there's professional people called politicians who do that all the time.
Oh. Oh yeah.
Not
Hmm.
all politicians. We won't paint them with such a broad stroke.
But they are representatives of a constituency, and they are offered ideas and other things from lobbies, those who have other interests.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So when you have the opportunity, or shall I say the choice, to speak your truth, check in with yourself, check in with your spiritual team, and say,
Mm.
"Oh, I feel like I really have to say something about that." Or sometimes your spiritual teams are the one that is nudging you. I'm clairaudient, so a lot of times I'll hear, "Say it, say it. Now is the time." you know, because I can feel it. I know the words. I can feel the words, but
Mm.
I'm not saying anything. And then I'll get the nudges like, say it. There's so many people that are going to hear it and feel it, and you're going to be delivering that message. So say it, say it. And so I say, okay, help me say it as kind as I can, as kindly as I can. And I have spiritual team members who help me with public speaking, who help
Mm.
me with delivering a message. And so I call on the entire team because you never know exactly who's going to be up to bat for it. But
Mm.
um, so to lean on them, ask them for help, right? So here's another one good from Rob. He's saying, the ego truth is cracking in my ankle and knee because I was convinced minimalist running were supposed to be the greatest thing since to sliced bread. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And look at what happened to your physical body because you took the ego truth about it, right? And Marianne, hi Marianne. She says, so would it be correct to say that standing in your truth takes a great deal of humility? I say it would take humility. I don't know about a great deal of humility because when it's coming from your heart, when you're speaking your truth from your heart and then you stand in it, you're standing in an immense amount of love. And what
Mm.
with that is humility. You're being humble, right? And so I would say yes, but I don't know if it would have to be a great deal of humility because it's really the amount of love that's coming through, and the humility is like the bow on it.
If you are, I like that question. My interpretation is a little bit different.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. Standing in your truth takes a great deal of humility. In negotiating, I'm going to say that, negotiating with the ego truth or the ego mind,
Mm,
and for the ego to take a step back instead of plowing through, that that could elicit a great deal of humility.
yes.
because I'm thinking for my own self, how I just power through things.
Mm-hmm.
Mind over matter. I'm getting through that mystery spot.
Mind over matter. My mom says that all the time. It's mind over matter.
Is she a Capricorn?
Strong mind. She's a Gemini.
Oh.
Mind. Remember, I'm surrounded by Geminis
Oh,
everywhere.
that's true. I forgot that.
I didn't know Polly Joe is a Gemini. She told me that, and I said, "Of course you are." um, and so, yeah, it's mind over matter. Being strong, have a strong mind, and I say have a strong heart. Actually, it's a balance between the mind and the heart, isn't it? So it kind of ties in with what Marianne, her question was about, is that when your head and your heart are balanced and you're coming from your high heart chakra, I think that the humility is built in, but it's getting to the balance between the egoic mind and the emotional heart. It's the balance. Kind of what we're all kind of striving for, isn't it? Balance.
I do have one positive speaking your truth story I can share. Yeah. I'm very transparent. I share about myself because I fall on my face a lot, and it's easier for me to use myself as an example. But what you said, Neshi, really inspired me. You said, "Oh, you've got your spiritual team behind you, nudging you to say, come on, say it, say it, say it." So when spirit talks to me, tells me you need to do blah, 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 usually my first reaction is, do you know how busy I am? Do you want me to do what? And the one thing that they really got me in a big way was, you need to sing on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
When I first started at Star Nations Radio, you want me to do what? For all these people, you want me to sing on the radio? You've got to be kidding me. You're out of your mind. And so I was like, all right, I'll do it. After so many times of getting that, okay, I'll just do it. But you're going to be my backup. You've got to hold me up.
Mm.
And so I did.
Yeah.
And I have. And I do. And it's brought back a piece of who I really am from long, long ago, because I used to be a performer. Mm-hmm. I used to do theater and musical theater and all of that. So it's pulling out a bit of creativity that was just kind of put on the shelf.
Yeah.
For more mental pursuits.
Yeah.
And now I'm weaving myself together again.
Yes.
I'm being invited to be part of this singing duo.
And I think that's what he means by this.
Mm-hmm. Look what I got you. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. There we do have a couple of memes we want to show you. Okay. Let me get through here. I'm going to bring this one up. This is the first one. This is a good one. We're going to give it a solo so you can read it. Otherwise, it's kind of small. Loving ourselves through the process of owning our story is the bravest thing we'll ever do. Brené Brown. I like that one. Because it is a process, isn't it?
Yes.
It is a process that we're becoming. When you talked about the butterfly, for the butterfly to become the butterfly, it is a process. They don't start out that way. They become that. It's a process. I like that.
And for the butterfly is a total unraveling, or for the caterpillar, a total undoing before the new long lithe flying machine is born.
Complete transformation. Total transformation. Here's another good one. Give another soul here. You want to read this one?
Daring greatly is being brave and afraid every minute of the day at the exact same time.
Yeah. I can so relate to that one.
That got me in the feels.
Yes. Yep.
And again, this is Brene Brown. Those are a couple quotes that really ring true for me. I watched her TED Talk.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 20 minutes about vulnerability.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And it was suggested to me to watch that. And I resisted for a long time. And then finally, it came up on my YouTube. If you like this video, then you'll like all these other videos.
Mm-hmm.
And so after it coming up another time, I'm like, all right, I'll just watch it. And, you know, she talks about being the researcher, the professional, the scientist.
Yes.
And she's going to break these things down in little bits and conquer them. I'm all about conquering, right? I'm like, let's plow through. And then she had a spiritual awakening, aka the caterpillar turned all the mush before she became the butterfly. And I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And then here's another one that you brought to us. I'll give it a solo here. Whoops. Let's take down Marianne's comment. She liked that last one. You must do the thing you think you cannot do. Eleanor Roosevelt. Yep. I like that one too. Because I have to say, Julie, this is usually me when I get this. You know, they're bringing my spirit team is bringing me something I've actually asked for, and it's finally here. But in the way that they brought it to me, it's like, really, I have to do this thing that I asked for. You want me to do it this way, and it's like. And a lot of times I procrastinate, kind of drag my feet a little bit. Then I get the nudge. And I've gotten the Cosmic 2x4 at least on 2 occasions. And I don't want to have to go through that one again. And so when they give me that next nudge, it's like, all right, okay. Tell me, show me how this is going to, what I need to do. How is this going to look? What's my next best step in that direction? And because I'll give you an example. I can't go into details because we're still pulling it together. But and talking about what was that last one about being scared at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Being brave is and afraid every minute, you know, and at the exact same time. Well, this next piece. This next expansion for Star Nations is one of those things where we're going to be able to bring the magazine in front of 10,000 people guaranteed. And that's a big guarantee. I checked it out. I read the fine print, and you know, and it's that next leap, and it is a bit scary and it's kind of like riding a roller coaster in a way. It's exhilarating and scary all at the same time. But, you know, hopefully by the first of the year, we'll have everything put together, contract signed, and all that. So, and this is one of my favorite ones. Julie, you want to read this one?
What I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we all have.
Oprah Winfrey. Yep, speaking the truth. Speaking your truth. A little bit of difference.
Yeah. And that is essentially what that video from Jordan B. Peterson, that Canadian psychologist, that's essentially what his speech was all about. But he presented it in such a way that was speaking to me personally by saying that there is so much awfulness and horridness that we trudge through as in our human journey. suffering, unspeakable suffering, personally and globally. That the only thing you have is your truth. So, you're going to get lambasted for it anyway. So just speak your truth. And I know that sounds harsh and maybe fatalistic, but from someone who is slogging through the depths of awfulness on a deep journey myself, I was like, okay. He's not trying to gloss it over with, oh, love and light and everything's just fine. You put on a happy face. No, you go through some truly trying, difficult times that stretch the weave out.
Yes.
And if you're going to get smacked for it anyway, you might as well be in your truth.
Yeah. I do have a belief that it doesn't have to be painful. It doesn't have to be torturous. It's what we do to make it that way. When we dig our heels and say, I'm not changing. That was me. I like my life the way it is. I'm not changing. And dug my heels in and said, no, that I'm not going there. I don't want to change. And yeah, it took me to my knees. And so I honestly, I do believe that if we can get into the flow of it and try to be brave and ask for your team to help you to be brave and show me how I can do this, and you actually ask for help from your close friends, the people that you trust, right? That it doesn't have to be painful. It's when the ego mind gets involved and says says they're running that part of me is running the show. And so
I'm getting through the mystery spot.
Yeah, exactly. I could be green with nausea, but I'm getting through it. I'm going to push through it. And so that is one of my truths, is that I do believe that it doesn't have to be painful. That if we can.
Did you have to go to through the pain to get there?
Yes. Yes.
Excuse me.
Yep, I did. And
thank you for sharing that.
It's because of that experience that's what I know. That's what I know for sure, is that when the ego is out of balance and trying to lead in an event that is truly about your heart, that's when it's painful. That's when it's painful.
Do you have a sleepy baby over there?
I was going to take.
He conked out?
Yeah, he did. He was actually sleeping on his back, which means that for him, that means that he's in the deep sleep, right? He just rolled over, and yeah. Well, see, that's what I asked my team to do. I said, come on in, and you're gonna, if you guys, somebody on the team, I don't care how many of you, help me with George tonight. The best thing you can do is make me nap while we're on the show.
You did say that right before we went on.
Yeah. Yep. So I think they helped him go to sleep. So yay. Okay, we got about 5 minutes. I do have something I wanted to show everybody while we're here, and that is the cover to the September issue of Star Nations magazine. The photo is actually from Marjorie Morrison, who's here on Facebook. She's from Michigan, and she's she's a part of Star Nations now, because her photo made the cover. And I was looking for a hummingbird picture, and I went through I don't know how many, and none of them just sang to me. None of them just kind of jumped out. And one morning, Mom was having breakfast, and we had finished up. I read the highlights, political highlights to my mom every morning. And we got through those. And, and I was just scrolling through Facebook relatively quickly, scrolling. And this picture was there, and it just jumped out at me. And it's like, oh my God, that's the cover. And so I contacted her, and yay, yay. I was crossing my fingers. She would say yes, and she did. And then the Elfhelm Publishing, who are our layout specialists, they took all the raw elements, the photo, the titles, and did their magic. And I think it's a beautiful cover.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Yep. So it's available. It's online, ready to be read. And there's a lot of good articles in here. Yours, by the way.
Yay.
Yeah, pretty darn good. All right. So, Julie, do you have anything that you want to share with everybody before we say goodnight? How do people get a hold of you if they want to get a reading from you, or are you teaching or at an expo or anywhere?
I am going to be local here with my jewelry partner this coming weekend, and I do little readings at the booth. People come by and they want a little empowerment card, so we do that. The chakra jewelry and pendulums. And for those who are interested in a tarot, astrology, Akashic records, or numerology, life path reading, my website is www.4soulempowerment.com. You can always touch base with me over Facebook as well. Send me a Facebook message. So yeah. Okay, and please like my tarot journey page. I often do live card draws, and I will also advertise those on the Star Nation's main page. Say, hey, come on over if you would like a live card draw. I like to do that for my peeps, as a thank you, as a giveaway, as a wokila. So messages, and please thank you, Rob, for soulempowerment.com. And next Monday is the Tarot Journey Show on Star Nation's Radio Network, Star Nation's organization, at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. And so we're going to be talking about self-care. I talked a little bit about that during Monday Meta yesterday. That's my little native live stream that I do on my page. So you can join me for that too, but it's self-care. Mm-hmm. So that's my commercial for this evening.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I have to tell you that Julie has done a tarot reading for me, but she's also done my astrology. And I have to say that Julie was one of those people in my life. That's why we're so close now, closer than what we were before. Julie is one of those people who helped me through what some would call the dark night of the soul last year. And it was her expertise and her knowledge of astrology, her first language, she calls it, that helped me to identify an aspect of what I was going through. And it helped so much, immensely. That and Teresa Girardi, she was here in October, and we did some tapping. And so Julie, your readings help change lives, and I just want people to know that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And for me, I just talked about the magazine. That's the big one. We just published yesterday, and so that's huge to get that one done. And what's coming up is what's up next is for the Star Nations Academy. My sister, Minnie Kansman, and I are teaching a class together called Magic of the weekend of the 22nd of September here at Star Nations Academy in Toma, Wisconsin. And that is going to be fun. It's about foundation building aspects. So if you're, just recently starting out on your path, or you've been at this for a while and you may have some gaps, in your knowledge base, you can come and join us and get those gaps filled. So that's September 22nd, weekend of. And then Polly Jola Bay is going to be here. She's from Massachusetts, and she's flying in. She's going to be teaching Mystical Healing 101. And it's all about heart chakra that weekend. And so that's a big weekend.
That'll be a good one. Mm-hmm.
So
lots of neat things happening at the Academy.
Yeah, it is. It is. So you can go to the Star Nations, starnations.org, the Academy page, and it's got all the information there listed for you. And yeah, and you can join me. Let's see, tomorrow is Wednesday. Mom has a nurse's appointment in the morning. I almost forgot about it. And so the daily live stream that I do about the card draw, the energy of the day, we're going to do at 2:00 in the afternoon. Okay. So you can join me then. Yay. I almost forgot about that appointment. That wouldn't have been good. And I was going to try to get George on camera, but the best.
Is he awake?
No, I'm going to move.
He's still sleeping. Okay.
Still sleeping, but I can move my camera if you give me some leeway here. And let's see. You got to go down and
oh my goodness.
Yeah, there he is. He's a sleeper.
Oh, I saw him twitch a little bit. Oh, I just want to kiss his little face.
He's teething. He's a good boy. He really is. But I also call him Bitey Boy. So with that, everybody enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week on Communications from Home.
Who's on next?
I have to look at my calendar. I know. It's about Awakening Illuminated Heart. It was one of the teachers that a colleague of mine. He's going to be teaching a class here in Wisconsin, and so I said, why don't you come on and talk about what's new on Awakening Illuminated Heart? So he's going to be joining James Morrison, actually. Is his, no, he's not the rocker. Reincarnated, no. All right. So enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next week, okay? Good night, everybody.
Good night.